So hello everyone, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for being here to our McGill Friday noon seminar series. I'm P. Watson, I'll be the host today. Today we have the pleasure of welcoming Lennart Koetzier. He is an M.Sc student at Delft University of Technology in Delft, Netherlands, and he's performing his graduate research at the Leiden University Medical Center. Today, he's going to speak to us about some work he did on a research student project at Stanford University on deep learning reconstruction in CT. And with that, I'll hand it over to Lennart.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for the introduction, and good afternoon, indeed. So my name is Lennart Koetzier. Again, we are talking about deep learning reconstruction today. Just to make, if there are any questions, please unmute yourself so you can I can address your questions right away. So a little bit about my background. I'll shortly go over my background. I first got my experience with CT.
Oh, wait, no, it's in my.
In the Leiden University Medical Center, where I did a research project on deep learning reconstruction. And this project led me to Stanford, where I worked in the cardiovascular imaging group. I had two projects there, one on photon counting CT, and the other one was writing this deep learning paper. And currently I'm again in the Leiden University Medical Center, doing a project on the application of spectral CT in interventional radiology. So that's some background of me. Let's dive deeper into the deep learning reconstruction. So this seminar is mainly based on this paper, which appeared in February of this year. However, since I submitted this paper, there has been quite some advancement on this topic. So I'm adding two newer papers and a new application to this seminar. This is the general outline of the paper, and I'm gonna hold on to it, or I'm roughly gonna hold on to it, talking first a bit about image quality factors and some previous reconstruction algorithms, then providing you with some technical background. I will discuss some clinical applications using papers. There are about 5 papers, and ending with some challenges and prospects. So first, let's talk a bit about what image quality factors we find important. Logically, we want to achieve images with low noise levels. We can measure the noise using standard deviation in a homogeneous region of interest, which gives you a number. However, this number does not say everything about the noise. The noise texture is also very important, especially in low contrast applications. And this we can see here in image A and B. Both images have the same noise magnitude, so the same standard deviation. However, as you can see, the circles are, especially the smaller circles, are much more difficult to detect in image B. And this is caused by the low frequency noise that is present in this image. In image A, the high frequency noise makes it much more easy to detect all these circles, even to almost the smallest circle. And this also translates to unfavorable noise texture in your CT images. I will show this a bit later, but this low frequency noise generally results in plastic or blotchy appearance of your CT scans. Other factors we find important are, of course, the spatial resolution, and image artifacts like metal artifacts, which we'll also discuss a bit later. So let's see how the earlier reconstruction algorithms handle these image quality factors. and more specifically the noise. I took this figure from a paper discussing the evolution of image reconstruction. Here we can see images of filtered back projection, hybrid iterative reconstruction, and model-based iterative reconstruction of the 4 big vendors. And as we can see here, if we reconstruct images with FPP at a high dose of 4 milligrays, we generally get good images with low noise levels and a desirable noise texture. However, when we lower this radiation dose to 1 milligray, this will result in very noisy images, which can make the image undiagnostic. Hybrid iterative reconstruction and model-based iterative reconstruction are able to lower the noise in low dose conditions, where model-based generally performs better than hybrid IR, both in reducing the noise and reducing artifacts. However, radiologists often complain about the plastic or blotchy or speckly noise texture of model-based iterative reconstructed images. Also, reconstruction times for model-based IR are much longer than the other methods, and this is because of the advanced analytical reconstruction method. So question now is DLR or deep learning reconstruction able to perform even better in low dose conditions while keeping the desirable noise texture? And that's what I wanted to investigate in my paper. I looked on PubMed using this search term. This is a shortened version, which resulted in this paper. It was the first paper on deep learning reconstruction from 2017. I gave a similar talk about 18 months ago, and then this search resulted into 450 results. However, 2 weeks ago, this was already increased to 850 results. So we can see this is a fast evolving field. However, we don't really see the exponential growth anymore that we saw in the years 2019 to 2022. So let's dive into some technicalities. How are the algorithms built, trained, updated, employed, etc.? So the performance of your deep learning reconstruction algorithm completely relies on the training data. Ideally, we would want to train our network on matched high dose and low dose data. So that would mean you have your low dose image and a high dose equivalent of your same patient. We're using the high dose as the ground truth for training our network. When we have our data, we can train our network in 3 different ways. So first, we can optimize the sinogram. In sinogram optimization, we generally aim for artifact reduction. So when we have our low dose sinogram as input, we have our high dose sinogram as ground truth, we train our network, and that's how we obtain our sinogram based algorithm. We can do the same with images. We have low dose FPP or iterative reconstruction images, and the high dose equivalent. And this method generally is good for denoising your images. And lastly, we have the most pure form of deep learning reconstruction, where we input low dose sinograms and have high dose FPP or iterative reconstructed images as ground truth. So vendors have different approaches to collecting this data. All vendors have used phantom data as well as patient data at a wide range of scan parameters and a wide range of clinical conditions. However, vendors have different approaches to collecting the matched high dose and low dose data. Some vendors simulate low dose data from high dose data by some kind of downsampling, while others perform two scans, one acquisition at low dose and one acquisition at high dose. Also, the choice of reconstruction algorithm here in these steps is very important, since if you're choosing for FVP images, for FVP reconstruction for your training images, your deep learning reconstruction algorithm will also result into a noise texture that is similar to FVP images. So it's also important to note that when the network is employed in the clinical setting, the training process is stopped. So it doesn't train anymore on the patients it sees in the clinical setting. So now we have our trained networks. How are they employed in the clinical setting? But there are four ways. First option is the cytogram optimization, where we have our low dose cytogram, we optimize it and reconstruct it with FVP or iterative reconstruction. We can do something similar by first reconstructing the image, and then we have our low dose image, which we optimize with our deep learning network. And here we obtain our high quality image. We can do this in a sequential way by combining both the cyanogram based and image based method. And then we have our most pure form, the direct deep learning reconstruction. And here it's important that there's no step of FVP or IR is involved. All of the reconstruction steps are embedded into this network. We expect artifact reduction to be more pronounced in this order, since here we're only optimizing in the image domain. And currently there are three vendors out there that have a deep learning network, deep learning reconstruction network available. GE and Philips both developed a direct DLR, so that's the top row. And their names are True Fidelity and Precise Image. Canon uses only image optimization, so as we can see in the bottom row, and their algorithm is called ACE. So that's how they're trained and employed, but how do they perform in the clinical setting? I will first discuss a paper with a cardiovascular application, followed by a pediatric or low-dose application, then super resolution, and metal artifact reduction. So I wanted to show this study on coronary CT angiography by Benz's research group. They performed two studies. And in these studies, they looked at the image quality and diagnostic accuracy of CCTA reconstructed with either deep learning reconstruction or hybrid iterative reconstruction. And more specifically, they looked at the impact on stenosis severity, which was categorized into 7 groups ranging from no stenosis to total occlusion. The plaque composition was categorized into calcified plaques, non-calcified plaques, or a mixed plaque. And they also looked at the plaque volume quantification. So in the first study, 43 patients were scanned on a normal dose. And this scan protocol was designed for hybrid iterative reconstruction. So this is a normal dose for performing a CCTA. Additionally, all patients underwent invasive coronary angiography and this was used as a reference for the diagnostic performance. So if we first take a look at the image quality, comparing hybrid iterative reconstruction with the medium strength of deep learning reconstruction, we can see this results into a comparable noise level. However, the readers rated the images of higher quality. And when we go one step stronger in our deep learning reconstruction, we see that the images were perceived as even better. Well, does it also translate to a better diagnostic accuracy? And that appears, it appears that it's not the case. Here, the deep learning reconstruction high strength is compared to hybrid iterative reconstruction. And as we can see, there's no statistical difference in sensitivity, specificity, or accuracy. So we can see that the higher image quality does not necessarily translate to a better diagnostic performance. However, this group also performed a follow-up study with a lower radiation dose. And in this study, patients were scanned twice, once with the normal dose and reconstructed with hybrid iterative reconstruction and model-based iterative reconstruction. And the patients were scanned with a lower dose and reconstructed with deep learning reconstruction. Let's see what the noise, what it does with the noise. So here the noise is displayed for the normal dose CCTA reconstructed with hybrid IR and model-based IR. And here we can see the lower dose CCTA. And as we can see, the noise levels are comparable and even lower than hybrid IR with DLR. Then taking a look at diagnostics, the plaque volume quantification was not impacted by lowering the dose. As we can see here, the intra-class correlation is very high, and this shows us that although the dose was lowered by 43%, this didn't impact the diagnostic accuracy. In this paper, they also showed an example where the diagnostic accuracy was actually improved by deep learning reconstruction. In this panel, we can see a mixed plaque in the left coronary, in the left coronary artery. And here white indicates invasive coronary angiography. Green is hybrid iterative reconstruction, and blue is deep learning reconstruction. And in this patient, one radiologist diagnosed non-obstructive coronary artery disease with hybrid iterative reconstruction, while the same reader diagnosed a high-grade coronary stenosis with DLR. And eventually, invasive coronary angiography revealed a high-grade stenosis. So here, DLR was more accurate. Moving on to another paper. This paper looked at the capabilities of reducing the radiation dose in children, where it's especially important to keep the radiation dose as low as possible. And in this study, the authors looked at the image quality and object detectability of FPP, hybrid IR, model-based IR, and deep learning reconstruction. And I did this in a phantom and in a patient study. The object detectability was assessed in a phantom study by a mathematical model observer, also known as D prime. And And the noise power spectrum was used to give an idea of what the noise texture was like. In the patient study, radiologists looked at the sharpness of the images, the noise level in the images, and object conspicuity. So I copied this slide from the radiology website, highlighting the main findings of this study. And firstly, they found that deep learning reconstruction improved object detectability by 51% compared to FPP. It was improved by 18% compared to hybrid iterative reconstruction, and it was improved by 11% compared to model-based iterative reconstruction. DLR also preserved a favorable noise texture and spatial resolution, and radiologists also had a greater confidence that their diagnosis was more accurate. Then lastly, and probably most importantly, in this study, it was possible to reduce the radiation dose by 52% compared to hybrid iterative reconstruction, while maintaining the same diagnostic accuracy. And I think this is especially, this is the main finding of this study, since it's so important to keep the radiation dose as low as possible in pediatric scans. I took some images from this study to show you how all these reconstruction algorithms work in thick slices and thin slices. So here we can see FPP is basically too noisy and maybe unacceptable. Hybrid IR is somewhat better, but it's still noisy. And here we can see the clear results of model-based iterative reconstruction, where although the noise is low, it's got this speckly or plastic-like noise texture. And this is especially important in low contrast. This could possibly hamper your low contrast detectability. And here with DLR, we can see both the low noise as well as the desirable noise texture. Well, then going to somewhat other application, super resolution, because the noise reducing capabilities can not only be used for reducing the radiation, but also to keep the noise low in high resolution images. And this was the initial focus of the vendors was to reduce radiation dose. And that's why the algorithms were not trained on high resolution images of, say, below 0.5 millimeter. And especially with the introduction of photo counting CT, we can go below this resolution level. So to account for this high resolution imaging, Canon quite recently introduced their high resolution DLR algorithm called ACE-peak. And this network was trained on high dose. This network was trained on high dose, high resolution acquisitions and their simulated low dose and low resolution equivalent. So this is important to note here. The input is low dose and low resolution, and the ground truth is high dose and high resolution. So this network aims to both improve the noise levels as well as the spatial resolution. This high resolution imaging can potentially be useful, for example, in cardiac imaging, for imaging stents or reducing blooming artifacts. in bone imaging, the trabecular bone can be imaged sharper. In the lung, for example, we might see deeper bronchial branches, or in the brain, we can delineate vessels even preciser. So I took one paper describing the capabilities of this high resolution DLR algorithm. This study was again on coronary CT angiography, and it was performed. CCTA was performed on 51 patients with suspicion for coronary artery disease, and all images were acquired at 0.5 millimeter spatial resolution and reconstructed with hybrid iterative reconstruction, model-based iterative reconstruction, and deep learning reconstruction. However, they were reconstructed with the normal resolution and the high resolution mode. And to investigate the usefulness of this high resolution DLR, blooming artifacts were measured. A qualitative assessment was performed by a radiologist, and reconstruction times were recorded. So here we can see 4 reconstructions of the same patient. Here we have a zoomed in view of the coronary artery with a highly calcified plaque. And if we take a look at the blooming artifacts, we can see there's less blooming artifacts present with the high resolution deep learning. And that was also what was measured by in this paper. We can see that the lowest blooming artifacts were present in this high resolution DLR. And when we take a look at the myocardium, we can see that the image quality was also improved. And the readers of this study rated the images of the high resolution DLR 4 out of 4 for all parameters they were rated on. And these parameters ranged from image sharpness to noise magnitude, the coronary vessel delineation, or the assessment of the cardiac muscle. However, a possible drawback was that the reconstruction times for super resolution, so this mode, was longer than the normal resolution mode, because the normal resolution mode took on average 50 seconds, and this mode took on average 115 seconds. So that's over twice as long. However, the model-based iterative reconstruction was still the slowest with 262 seconds. Here we can see that the image sharpness and the noise magnitude was perceived as best with the super resolution DLR. And this is also surprising, the noise magnitude being best in the super resolution images, since generally if we acquire high resolution images, the noise level will also go up. So this is an important finding. Then the metal artifact reduction. Metal artifacts can be, as you know, caused by dental fillings or orthopedic hardware, and are caused by, for example, they are caused by physical phenomena like beam hardening or photon starvation. And that's why conventional metal artifact reduction algorithms try to correct in the sinogram domain. However, this correction in the sinogram domain often results into secondary artifacts. And now deep learning reconstruction has found its application here. I will highlight one recent paper from a research group in the Netherlands. That's this paper. let's see how this how they developed their own deep learning metal artifact reduction software. And for this, they used a data set of 105 images from different anatomical regions. And they simulated metal artifacts to create training data. So what they did is they had an image where they inserted a metal mask. This mask was determined by another deep learning network, but I will not go into that. Both of these images were forward projected into the sinogram domain and were then combined to get our metal affected sinogram. And this metal affected sinogram was then reconstructed with FBP to get our training image. So here, this is the input of our network, where we see the metal artifact image, and here we can see the ground truth, where there are no artifacts present in the image. To evaluate their algorithm, they applied their own algorithm and Philips OMAR, which is it's a sacroiliac implant metal artifact reduction. And they applied these two algorithms to patients who got a sacroiliac implant, resulting in these images. So here we can see the uncorrected images showing beam hardening artifacts, photon starvation artifacts. Here you can see the streaks. I think you all know the images. This is how OMAR performed. We can see some small streaks in surrounding tissue, but the streaks are quite good reduced, quite well reduced. However, there's also, you can see there's a secondary artifact here in the metallic object. And here with the deep learning MAR that this paper investigated, we can see that there's even less streak artifacts in surrounding tissue, and we also don't see the artifact here anymore in the metallic object. And in this study, they used pre and post surgery scans to see how well their algorithm worked. And for this, they looked at differences in CT values on the pre-surgery scan and between the post-surgery scan. And here we can see that the uncorrected images have large differences in the CT values. And we can see that both metal artifact reduction algorithms have definitely reduced this difference in CT values. And we can also see that the deep learning MAR generally performs better than the OMAR. However, a possible drawback is also here that the deep learning MAR took on average 200 seconds to go from this image to the corrected image. And this could possibly slow down the clinical workflow. However, an advantage of this approach is that it operates only in the image domain. So we don't have to access the raw data, which is, most of the time it's not accessible. Going to some challenges that still need to be tackled with deep learning reconstruction. I think we all know that deep learning is a nonlinear operation. And because it's nonlinear, there's a potential that image features are artificially added or removed from the image. For example, when an image contains a lot of noise, the deep learning network could recognize the noise as a lesion and add additional features to the image, possibly leading to a misinterpretation. On the other hand, when a rare type of lesion is underrepresented in the training data, it could be that it could be recognized as noise and removed from the image. And this could lead to underdiagnosis. And this was already shown in deep learning reconstruction in MRI. I found a paper where a meniscus tear was removed by the deep learning network. And this is obviously a problem, since there's a potential that we miss findings in our images. I also looked at a possible solution of these feature adding or feature removal is by improving our training data. So we have to include more clinical conditions in our training data. We have to include more types of patients. We have to include more scan parameters in the training data, and this will most likely improve these challenges. I also looked at the artifact reducing capability of the three deep learning networks that are currently out there. And I found that the artifact reduction is not that good. Some studies did not find any differences between deep learning reconstruction and other reconstruction algorithms, and some found a slight decrease, but it was not really that great. And also here, I think that if we improve our training data by adding artifact corrupted data to the training data, DLR could potentially reduce artifacts even better. Going to some prospects. DLR, as I said, DLR will most likely benefit from improving the training data. And this is possible with the introduction of photon counting CT. Photon counting CT can output sharper images, lower noise images, and has spectral capabilities such as reducing beam hardening artifacts. And these could serve as better training data for the deep learning networks. On the other hand, photon counting CT or spectral CT in general can also benefit from deep learning reconstruction. Currently, there's the application of DLR for spectral CT is rather limited, but I think there's a huge potential for it. Because with spectral CT, we're acquiring more data, since we also have to capture spectral data. And this spectral data has to be processed into clinically meaningful images. For example, if we acquire a photon counting CT scan with 4 energy bins, this will result in roughly 4 times the data compared to conventional CT. And to process this increased information, we need more complex models to do this. And I think deep learning has a big potential here. Then the CT exam interpretation without reconstruction. This is something that's probably far in the future. This is based on that all information needed for a diagnosis should be present in the raw data. But during the reconstruction process, it is possible that information might be lost. And that's why we want to see if there's a possibility to interpret CT exams without reconstruction. And technically, it would be possible to combine image reconstruction with, for example, image classification. And this can, for example, be used to quickly see if a patient with suspicion for stroke indeed has had a stroke. If we need a quick interpretation of our scans. And this is also what 2 studies looked at, and it had quite promising results. Alternatively, I also think it could help to make radiomics more reproducible, as the image reconstruction process has its influence on the CT values. So if we take away the reconstruction process, we also take away the influence of this reconstruction process on CT values, possibly making radiomics more reproducible. And lastly, transformer networks. The 3 deep learning reconstruction algorithms that the 3 vendors released were built on convolutional neural networks or on the UNets. But recently, transformers were introduced for medical imaging, which showed impressive results. Transformers require more training data, but they are also able to outperform the state-of-the-art networks like the CNNs and the UNets. And I think in future iterations of these DLRs will be built on these new transformers. So overall, I think we all know deep learning has a huge potential in radiology. And I think, especially in spectral CT, there's a big potential to process this increased information into clinically meaningful images. However, this also comes with having a large amount of heterogeneous training data, which remains a large bottleneck. So I think there's still some work to do, and this field is still evolving. That's what I wanted to talk. That's what I wanted to talk about. Here are some, not related to this project, but some images of me with a CT scanner. I hope you liked it. If there are any questions, I'm happy to address them now. And thank you for attending this seminar.
Super. Thank you very much for a very nice talk. So we have time for questions. If anyone has one, feel free to just say it out loud or type it into the chat and I'll read it out loud. I can do the first question. So I was interested, when you presented the work on the DLR super resolution work, I think that's extra complicated because not only are you denoising, but you're also of enhancing the image. So how high of a resolution can they reliably reconstruct with that?
So in this study, they acquired the images at 0.5 millimeter spatial resolution.
Like voxel size is 0.5 millimeter?
Yeah, exactly. The network was trained on what they say ultra high resolution images. They didn't specify what was the spatial resolution in this case, but I think the limit is of course the training data, and since we now can go with the spectral with photon counting CT to say 0.2 millimeters, we could possibly go to that level, which is indeed pretty amazing. pretty impressive. Yeah.
All right, we have a question in the chat. Did you see any work with diffusion models?
I haven't. I checked PubMed 3 weeks ago. Since I'm also doing, I haven't been into this topic for, I don't know, for about a year. So I had to do some research, but I haven't seen any diffusion models. Also curious to see if that would be a possible solution, since diffusion models are also, of course, based on denoising your images. That's what's done in diffusion. So good question. I'm not sure. Maybe there's a research gap for this.
Yeah. Someone should look into it.
Yeah.
Good. Other questions? Doesn't seem like it. You did a very thorough job of explaining a lot of the background as well, which was nice.
Yeah, I hope I didn't talk too fast.
No.
It was a bit of yeah.
So I guess you might have said this earlier on. So do all the main vendors now have a deep learning? No, it's only what? Canon.
It's Canon, GE, and Philips.
Okay.
And that's why I was especially surprised with Siemens not having a deep learning network, since they are currently the only one with a photon counting CT. They don't even have their deep learning network, for conventional CT. I think they will also see this potential for deep learning in processing the spectral images, but apparently they're not really a fan of deep learning. I don't know what it is.
I mean, they'll if they stop selling CT scanners because of it, they'll probably have to develop one soon, if they're not already.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I'd like to thank Lennart again, and good luck with the rest of your degree. And if you're ever in Montreal, please let us know. We'll give you a tour of our department.
I will. Very good.
All right. Thanks. Thank you, and thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.